In this week's archaeological news, my leading story is about the Nile's dried-up Khufu branch, which experts have discovered ran very close to the Giza Pyramids during the time they were constructed. I also discuss a new DNA study on ancient migrations, two exciting finds from Turkey, the most recent dig season at the Ness of Brodgar in Orkney, and the discovery of a huge Neolithic structure in Prague. Research proves a branch of the Nile once ran close to the Giza Pyramids. Experts have long thought that materials for the construction of the Giza Pyramids were transported by water, hypothesizing that a now dried-up river channel of the Nile River once existed in the area. Researchers have now gone a step further to prove this hypothesis and look at how the watery landscape of the Nile changed over thousands of years. The team reconstructed the Nile's fluvial history over the past 8,000 years by carrying out paleoecological analyses of fossilized pollen grains from core sediment samples taken close to Giza. They also took a fresh look at previous geological research of the rocks surrounding the pyramids in the context of this new project. They found that the Khufu branch of the Nile ran close to the Menkaure, Khafre and Khufu pyramids at the times they were under construction more than 4,000 years ago, which means the river may have helped with the transportation of building materials to the plateau. The Khufu branch stretched for 7 kilometers from the Nile to the edge of the Giza Plateau. However, at the end of the dynastic period, the Nile water levels dropped considerably, leading to a drier environment. This aridification has also been backed up by the study of the bones and teeth of mummies. New study sheds light on migrations during the agricultural revolution. A recent DNA study, the results of which have been published in the journal Science, analysed migration patterns that are thought to have driven the agricultural revolution in Anatolia. This multidisciplinary project brought together geneticists, archaeologists, anthropologists, and other specialists to analyse DNA and map likely Neolithic population movements based on this data. The researchers found that there were 2 waves of migration from early farmers into Anatolia. During the pre-pottery Neolithic beginning in around 10,000 BCE, farmers from Mesopotamia migrated there, assimilating with the local population. During the pottery Neolithic, which began around 7,000 BCE, farmers from both Mesopotamia and the Levant moved into the region. Experts think these early farming groups shared agricultural practices and ideas with each other, sparking the Neolithic revolution. The study shows that the migrations took place on a large scale, and further research will see if groups from Anatolia also moved in the other direction into Mesopotamia and the Levant. This study was one of 3 carried out by the team, who also analysed the spread of Indo-European and Anatolian languages during the Neolithic, as well as determining the cosmopolitan nature of ancient Roman communities across the empire during the classical period. 5,000-year-old graves discovered at Turkey's Çayönü Hill. Archaeologists working at the Çayönü Hill in the Diyarbakir province of Turkey have uncovered several cyst burials dating back to the pottery Neolithic. Cysts are box-like graves lined and covered with stone slabs. The mound Çayönü Hill is a multi-period site with its earliest finds dating back to around 10,000 years ago. Other important discoveries at the mound have included a 3rd millennium BCE building, as well as evidence for the mass processing of copper during the Bronze Age. The team will now recover the grave goods and skeletal remains from the cyst burials and have them officially dated. Latest dig season reveals new finds at the Ness of Brodgar. The Ness of Brodgar, a Neolithic settlement in Orkney, has been under excavation since 2004. As the latest dig season draws to a close, the BBC has reported on some of the most recent discoveries made at the site. Steps, which are probably the earliest in the UK, were found built into the northern wall of the complex. This structure is known as the Great Wall of Brodgar. A shorter stretch of wall to the south is known as the Lesser Wall of Brodgar. Archaeologists also discovered the earliest building at the site, which dates back to 3,400 BCE. Interestingly, one of the post holes that formed a part of the structure was found to contain a whalebone. Pots and axe heads were also excavated from the Ness, along with stone spatulas, which are unique to the site. Further parts of a building known as Structure 27 were uncovered. This is a rather interesting part of the site, which is carefully constructed walling. This has led archaeologists to think it must have had a special function. Rare seal found at Neolithic site in Turkey. A seal dating to the late Neolithic period has been uncovered during ongoing excavations at the Domuz Tepe mound in Turkey. The seal features two horned animal heads facing each other. Stylized bull motifs have been found on other objects at Domuz Tepe Hoyuk in the past, usually as a painted decoration on pottery. They are thought to represent the domestic species known as Bos taurus. It's also possible they depict water buffalo, but further research is needed to see if that species had been domesticated in the region at that time. Past excavations at the site have revealed 180 seals, some with zoomorphic and anthropomorphic decorations, and others with geometric patterns. Large Neolithic structure discovered in Prague. Archaeologists in Prague have discovered the remains of a huge 7,000-year-old building on the outskirts of the city. The building has been interpreted as a large circular structure known as a roundel. Around 200 roundels have so far been found throughout Central Europe. The Prague roundel, found in the district of Vinor, measured 55 meters in diameter, had 3 entrances and a large palisade. In the past, a Neolithic settlement was revealed to the northeast of the roundel. Archaeologists aren't sure what function these large wooden circular structures had, but they think they may have been trade centers or ritual sites. Radiocarbon dating of the roundels discovered so far has given dates of between 4,900 and 4,600 BCE. Excavations on the latest site will continue until the end of September. That's it. So what do we think? The confirmation of the existence and location of the Khufu branch of the Nile has not come as a surprise. Do I think the ancient Egyptians used the river to transport materials? Yes. As I said in a recent video, 8 little known facts about the ancient world, the oldest papyrus talks about this. We have texts from that time period, so we know that. However, I do think water played an important role in the lives of the ancestors for ritual reasons as well. I imagine that most megalithic monuments in the Neolithic and Bronze Age were probably closer to water sources than they are today. I even think that about the Maltese temples. For example, it's known that the Tal Addi temple used to look over a shoreline because the sea came further inland than it does today. The papers on the 3 studies I mentioned related to the agricultural revolution, the spread of Indo-European and Anatolian languages, and the genetic makeup of ancient Roman communities look very interesting. I just wanted to highlight them here, but I need to read them properly and see how relevant all of this is to solving some mysteries about the ancient past. So you can expect some more videos on those subjects. Something interesting I came across after I read the story about the cyst burials discovered at Çayönü Hill is that the complex appears to have been the site of some sort of ritual related to schools. Something that has also been discovered at Göbekli Tepe. I talked about it in my video, Was Göbekli Tepe built by an alcohol-fueled school cult? I haven't read the paper yet. It's from 2013, so there may have been further research since then as well. I'll take a look and see what I can find. The article about the Ness of Brodgar touches on the 2022 excavation season, but their own website has loads more details about it. I've been following the dig diary and it's brilliant. The discovery of what might be the oldest steps in the UK is a strange one though. Steps were also recently found leading up to the Neolithic dolmen known as Arthur's Stone. So which ones are actually the oldest? I don't know. Bull motifs at Domuz Tepe show just how long the horned heads have been rearing themselves in ancient art and ritual. The ritual sacrifice of cattle and the depiction of bulls seem to have been very important to the ancestors. I think that needs a whole video, maybe even a series. I'll get to it. The roundels in Central Europe are a great subject. They certainly have characteristics of megalithic structures, even though they're made of wood and are earlier than most stone circles and passage tombs. I don't think they were for trade. I'm definitely going for ritual or some sort of ceremony. Anyway, thank you for joining. Please hit the like button and I'll see you next time.